Hello, OJ here. This is Perusia, and welcome to day 2 of the Lenten Journey 2021. So, just a reminder, if this is your first time seeing this, every day, hopefully, for the next, 39 days, I will be posting these videos to just reflect upon the readings, the church's readings of today, and in hopes that this becomes a part of our Lenten walk to go deeper into Word and deeper into relationship with Christ and get to know ourselves a little bit better in the process too. So with that being said, hopefully you've had a chance to read the readings for today. I'll be quoting some bits and pieces of everything, and let's go right in. So first thing I wanted to point out was the first reading. In the first reading, we hear from Moses, okay? And he says this: "Today I have set before you life and prosperity, death and doom. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I enjoin on you today, loving Him, walking in His ways, keeping His commandments, statutes, and decrees, you will live and grow numerous." And then fast forward, if you don't listen to the word of God and to the things that are commandments, you will die, is the paraphrase of it. So if you obey God, you will live. If you don't, you will die. Gosh, that sounds harsh. That sounds like a horrible dictator. That's probably one of those places where you get people saying, "Oh, religion is just a way to control people." Look at that. If you don't listen to God, He will kill you. It's not quite like that. That's not quite what they mean. For instance, Jelly, my oldest daughter, the one that might be making noise right now, she's 6. And there are times when, in disciplining her, I tell her, I'm not even going to punish you right now. Because you know what? You're pretty much punishing yourself by what you just did. That happened a few days ago when she was being really careless with her iPad, brand new iPad, and she drops it. And she sees me that I saw her drop it, and she knew she was in trouble. And she had to, "What did I do?" And I'm like, "Jelly, you know what? You're not even going to be punished, because your actions, you've already punished yourself. What's going to happen? I'm not going to fix that iPad if you break it. You're going to have to live with a cracked screen or something. And it'll just be the natural consequence of your own action." And she's like, so basically, that's really what happens here. It's not that God is gonna slay us down because He's a mean dictator that wants everything that He says obeyed. It's that we not choosing Him brings forth a sort of death inside us. I'll get deeper into that in a few thoughts down. So ultimately then, what does it mean to have life in the sense that the readings are talking about here? Well, I can tell you what it's not. Having life doesn't mean like a prosperity gospel like some of the TV evangelists preach, where if you pray and you do this, then you're going to be rich and you're going to never be sick and any of those things. No, because if we read the gospel and we see what Jesus has to go through and what He commands us and tells us to do, it doesn't paint that picture. That's not what having life means in this sense. The Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, chief priests, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. But let's not forget the part where He must suffer greatly and be killed. I mean, God sent His only Son down to the world not to live in a mansion, not to live a comfortable life. They didn't even have air conditioning. He was sent here to live, to suffer through all those things. So where's the life part there? He came here to die. It manifests itself in a couple of ways. So in one sense, when we are obeying God's commands, when we are connected with Christ, in His Word, in prayer, in all the ways that we can be connected with Him, through sacraments, through Mass, we are given this supernatural strength to be able to go through the toughest times in our life in a different way than other people. I recently lost my dad, and instead of losing my faith, oh God, I prayed that you heal my dad, but you didn't. There was a temptation to ask to say that, but instead I turned harder and deeper into prayer and found that I had almost a supernatural sense of peace that I didn't think I could ever have in such a time. That was a version of life, a new type of life that I started to live in the midst of that chaos and what felt like a horrible time. A second version of this life is when we die and a new heaven, a new earth, a new creation is made, and we have our new bodies resurrected like Christ did. That's going to happen in 39 days from now, or at least that we're going to be commemorating and celebrating and remembering. That's the second version, or the second aspect to this new life that we have. So we have new life here on earth. We live in a different way. We can hold our head up, walk on water, figuratively speaking. And then in the second way, we have a way different kind of new life, a literal new life at the second coming in the new creation. So that's the kind of life and death. And the death that we experience is simply not choosing God. If we don't choose God, then a slow death starts to happen in our life. Death starts to take over. I can see those things happening right away. I become more impatient. I become less loving. I'm less able to control what my body pushes me to do versus what I ought to do. So I start to become a slave and reactionary to everything instead. I don't have that true freedom. I don't have that true life when I'm not choosing Christ. I'm not choosing His commandments, when I'm not choosing to delve deeper into His Word. So during this Lenten season, I have to ask myself, how can I choose life? How can I choose God more? Not just what I can give up, but what I can take up, so that I have a richer spiritual life, which just gives me a general better life here in this earth now, regardless of the circumstance, and later when it's the big payoff, heaven. And I hope you guys can think about something like that for yourselves too, and I hope that was helpful. I think that's it. That's all I got today. See you guys tomorrow or whenever another video pops up. However that works. Depends on where you're watching it. Okay, again, this is OJ, this is Perusia, and thank you for joining me on my Lenten walk. See you next time.